I'm from the Silverfield College of Education
And I don't know
and
how
Human
good the captions are.
Services. I am very interested in exploring Magic School. It's an AI tool for teachers in special education. Although you can see that it has more than just what a special educator would need. When you scroll down, you can see that it has just tons of resources. And so, yes, it can help you create lesson plans. It can help you create assessments. I love this one. You can, if you're using YouTube videos, it'll generate comprehension questions, making sure that students have watched the entire video. It has report card comments, so if you struggle to vary them student by student, also helps you build rubrics. For today, what I really want to do is to focus on these tools up here, which is the IEP, which is an individual education plan generator, an accommodation suggestion, and a social emotional lesson plan. So I teach a course called Deafness and Diversity, and that's on students who are deaf with disabilities, which we know more than half of our students have disabilities. Some of them are diagnosed, some aren't, such as autism, learning disabilities, emotional behavior disorders. I use these textbooks, which are free through the library, and I use this case study book. And so I'm going to take you to one of the activities, which is the IEP, which is creating an IEP for Emily, which is case study 29. And I did this two ways. The first way was to download the case study of Emily. And then I'll show you another way, which was just to copy and paste. So if we look here at the Magic AI, I'm going to generate an IEP. And we know that Emily is in the 10th grade. Sorry for that scrolling. Emily's in the 10th grade. And we know that she has a learning disability. And so I'm just going to attach the IEP. I'm sorry, the case study, Emily's case study. I'm going to see what it generates for an IEP. So this is fairly interesting because when I compare what Magic School generates versus what they have as in their assignment, I found that it was pretty close. There are some things that are missing, but it would definitely help a student shortcut this assignment and put more time into some of the other areas that aren't represented. And so if you look here, here's the assignment. And it says IEP participants. I did not see that on Magic School AI. Least restrictive environment, it looks to me like they've combined the least restrictive environment with the non-participation with non-disabled peers. And if you see, that's here was student needs and the impact of the disability. Now you have goals, and they definitely are required to create goals. So here are the SMART goals. Here's the present levels of performance, and Magic AI also has present levels of performance. So pretty close. We've got accommodations and modifications, and that's definitely something that is part of this IEP assignment. However, SMART School does not address transition, or at least in this tool, the IEP generator. And then the FBA, which is a functional behavior assessment, or the BIP, behavior intervention plan, that also was not addressed. But those things it's really impressive actually to see how much it did generate. And I like the idea of it shortcutting what students will do, and then students will have to go in and read with detail and make sure that that aligns with Emily's case, and then add those other components, which to me is definitely going to save them time. But I also think that they're going to have to think about those goals and see if they actually pertain to Emily or not. And that's the kind of detail that I would expect them to do anyway. So that's nice that they have to do it, even if they're using Magic AI. So another tool that I really liked is this accommodation suggestion. And so you can see here we've got a case study with Bianca. And Bianca is 5 years old. She has immigrated from the Philippines. She knows Filipino Sign Language. So she's 5 years old. So she's probably in the kindergarten. So you can see that there's an IEP component. And if I scroll down to the questions, the discussion questions, it says, what accommodations would you recommend? So to support her mobility needs, due to cerebral palsy. So let's see if Magic School is specific about accommodations based on her mobility needs. So we know that she's in the kindergarten, and I'm just going to, again, upload that document. So we've got Bianca, and we're going to open that up. Let's see what kind of accommodations that they suggest for Emily. I'm sorry, for Bianca. So we can see that they offer one-on-one support. That might help her, I guess, because it talks about transitions and then bathroom activities. So it is talking a bit about her mobility. We're talking about visual and sign language support. Absolutely. I like that they're incorporating American Sign Language. What I don't see is the incorporation of Filipino Sign Language, and I absolutely would suggest that we allow that for Bianca, or so while she's transitioning to American Sign Language. Flexible seating, that would definitely help with her mobility. And then augmentative communication, that's really for communication. So I think it kind of hit or miss. I'm going to ask it for, no, not specific. I want to ask it to, see, now that's interesting because I only have 2 choices here, but I want to ask it to make specific accommodations based on her mobility, and it's not allowing me to. So again, a limitation, but I think that this is a fairly new tool, and I think it's interesting regardless. So now let's look at the last tool, which is a social emotional learning. So for this social emotional learning, I actually chose Aiden. And Aiden, you can see that he has case study, it has a psychosocial component. What it is Aiden uses spoken language in a 6th grade public school and needs to learn self-advocacy. So he can tell the teacher the environment's too loud or there's too many distractions. And so what I chose to do is to go to Magic School, and then I'm going to go to the SEL lesson plan. We know that Aiden is in the 6th grade. And I'm just going to copy and paste and see what happens. So I'm going down. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to copy Aiden. So we know due to Aiden's social emotional challenges, the team agreed that he needs to visit the school counselor. Okay, so we want him to, I'm going to copy and paste the case study in this additional criteria. The topic in the standard, I believe we should just do this, which is, the idea that we want him to be meeting with the school counselor and coming up with strategies to develop his social and emotional skills. So I'm just going to put that in there. And then there is a drop down here where you can choose different kinds of SEL lessons. So self-awareness, self-management, social skills. I'm going to choose self-awareness because that's the closest one. That's interesting because the recording doesn't capture the drop down. So I guess I would have had to hover for a while, but I did kind of share some of them, but not all of them. Sorry, the visual is not there. To help him understand his strengths, challenges, and his emotions. And when I generate this SEL, I thought it was pretty interesting. I think it is relevant to Aiden because we have a lesson plan that is focused on his recognizing and understanding his emotional strengths and his challenges. And then there's an assessment where he's going to do a reflection journal, which I thought that was a good suggestion in terms of an activity. It's got some key points. Now, what's different about the lesson plan here is that it doesn't follow the template for our program, but I could see opportunities for students to copy and paste some of these pieces into our lesson plan template. But our lesson plan template is much more detailed. So again, I like that it's shortcutting the task for these students, but it's also making them think and review every piece of information that's generated by Magic School. And that's I believe that's what we want teachers to do. We do not want them to trust artificial intelligence to create goals, to make sure that students have proper accommodations and modifications, to make sure that the IEP is written within a year's time and that we're going to be working on those benchmarks to achieve those goals. So I think it's a good start, and I'm going to hopefully infuse an assignment next year into my class and see what students come up, because maybe in a year from now, this tool will be even better. So thank you.